The old ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its name was Wanderer, and it looked like it had seen better days. The metal walls were scratched and dented. The engines made strange sounds, but it still flew. And that was enough for Kang Do-hyun. Do-hyun sat alone in the pilot's seat, staring at the endless black sky filled with stars. He was 29 years old, but his eyes looked older. There were scars on his hands and one long scar across his left cheek. He didn't talk much about where they came from. He didn't talk much at all. 5 years ago, he had been a soldier. Korean Special Forces. One of the best. Now he was just a salvager. A man who flew through space looking for old ships and broken stations to take apart and sell. It was quiet work. Lonely work. That was how he liked it. "You're not sleeping again." The voice came from behind him. Do-hyun didn't turn around. He knew who it was. Yoon Ji-soo walked into the cockpit and sat down in the chair next to him. She was his engineer, his partner, and his only friend. She had sharp eyes and a sharper tongue, but she cared about him more than she would ever admit. "I slept for 2 hours. I checked." Jisoo crossed her arms. "The nightmares again?" Do-hyun didn't answer. That was answer enough. The nightmares had been with him for 5 years. They were always the same. Fire everywhere. Screaming. The smell of smoke and blood. He was carrying someone through the flames, someone small and light. He could hear his own voice saying words in a language that wasn't Korean. Then, everything went white, and he woke up. He never saw the face of the person he was carrying. He never remembered what happened next. The military doctors told him it was stress. They gave him medicine and told him to forget. But how could he forget something he couldn't even remember? "There's a signal," Jisoo said, pointing at the screen. "About 3 hours away. Looks like wreckage from an old battle." Do-hyun looked at the screen. She was right. There was debris floating in space, probably from the war between humans and the outer colonies 10 years ago. Good salvage, if they were lucky. "Let's check it out," he said. The Wanderer changed direction and moved toward the signal. Do-hyun watched the stars slide past the window. Out here on the outer rim, far from Earth and far from the alien empires, space was empty and quiet. He liked that. No people, no questions, no memories. Jisoo went back to the engine room to make sure everything was working. Do-hyun stayed in the cockpit alone with his thoughts. He tried to remember his life before the nightmares started. He had been a good soldier. His commanders said he was one of the best they had ever trained. Then came that mission. The one nobody would talk about. He remembered getting on a ship. He remembered landing on a planet that wasn't Earth. After that, nothing. Just fire and smoke, and a gap in his memory that the doctors said was normal. But it didn't feel normal. It felt like someone had taken a piece of him and thrown it away. 2 hours passed. The Wanderer was getting close to the debris field when something strange happened. A new signal appeared on the screen. It was strong and clear. Not like the weak signals from old wreckage. Do-hyun sat up straight. "Jisoo, come here." Jisoo came running. She looked at the screen, and her eyes went wide. "That's an Etherian frequency," she said. "A royal one." The Etherians were one of the biggest alien empires in the galaxy. They were powerful and proud, with technology that made human ships look like toys. Their royal family ruled over hundreds of planets, and their ships never came to the outer rim. Never. "What's an Etherian royal ship doing out here?" Jisoo asked. "I don't know." Do-hyun's hand moved to the controls. "Maybe we should leave." "Too late. They've seen us." A ship appeared on the screen. It was beautiful, in a way that human ships could never be. Smooth and silver, shaped like a curved blade. It was 10 times bigger than the Wanderer, and probably 1,000 times more powerful. Do-hyun's heart was beating fast, but he kept his face calm. "Open communications." Jisoo pressed a button. The screen flickered, and then a voice came through. It was a woman's voice, speaking perfect Korean but with a strange accent that made every word sound like music. Human vessel. Do not flee. I must speak with your captain. Do-hyun and Jisoo looked at each other. I'm the captain, Do-hyun said into the communicator. What do you want? There was a pause. Then the voice came again, and this time it sounded different. Softer. Almost shaking. Your name. Tell me your name. Andway. Do-hyun frowned. Kang Do-hyun. Why? Another pause. Longer this time. When the voice returned, it was barely a whisper. It's you. After all this time, it's really you. What are you talking about? Do-hyun asked. I don't know you. You will. The voice said. Prepare to be boarded. I'm coming to your ship. And please, human, don't run. I've been searching for you for 5 years. I won't lose you again. The communication ended. Do-hyun stared at the screen, his mind racing. 5 years. That was how long he had been having the nightmares. That was how long ago the mission happened, the one he couldn't remember. Do-hyun. Jisoo grabbed his arm. What is going on? How does an Etherian princess know your name? I don't know, he said. And he was telling the truth. But somewhere deep inside him, in the place where the memories should have been, something was waking up. Something that had been sleeping for a very long time. The silver ship moved closer. A smaller vessel launched from its side and flew toward the Wanderer. Do-hyun stood up from his chair and walked to the airlock. Jisoo followed him, her hand on the weapon at her belt. This is crazy, she said. We should run. She said she's been looking for me. Do-hyun said quietly. I want to know why. The airlock opened with a hiss of air. Do-hyun saw figures walking through the passage toward his ship. Guards in silver armor, tall and inhuman, and behind them, walking with the grace of someone who had never known fear, was a woman. She was Etherian. Her skin was pale purple, like the evening sky. Her hair was white and long, flowing behind her like water. Her eyes were gold, bright and burning, and they were locked on Do-hyun's face like he was the only thing in the universe. She walked past her guards. She walked past Jisoo, who raised her weapon and then lowered it in confusion. She walked until she was standing right in front of Do-hyun, close enough to touch, and then she spoke, her voice breaking on every word. I've been looking for you for years, human. Do-hyun looked into her golden eyes and felt the nightmares stirring in his mind. Fire. Smoke. A voice saying, stay behind me. Who are you? He asked. The princess smiled, but there were tears in her eyes. I'm the girl you saved, she said. And I never forgot your face. Princess Valera Sonai had dreamed of this moment for 5 years. She had imagined it 1,000 times. The human would see her and remember. His eyes would light up with recognition. He would say her name. But Kang Do-hyun just stared at her with confusion on his face. He didn't know her. He didn't remember anything. I think you have the wrong person, he said. Valera felt her heart break a little. But she had come too far to give up now. I don't have the wrong person, she said. I know your face better than I know my own. I've been looking at it in my memories every night for 5 years. The human woman next to Do-hyun stepped forward. Her hand was on her weapon, and her eyes were full of suspicion. Your Highness, the woman said. I'm Yoon Jisoo, engineer of this ship. With respect, my captain has never been to Etherian space. He's never met any aliens. You must be confused. I'm not confused. Valera turned to look at Jisoo. 5 years ago, there was a coup on my world. Enemies of my father tried to kill the royal family. They set fire to the summer palace while I was inside. I was 16 years old. I thought I was going to die. She paused, remembering. Even now, the memory made her hands shake. Then he appeared, she continued, looking back at Do-hyun. A human soldier. He came through the fire like it was nothing. He picked me up and carried me out. He fought through 20 enemy soldiers with nothing but a knife and his bare hands. And when it was over, when I was safe, he disappeared. I never learned his name. Do-hyun's face was pale. That's not possible. I would remember something like that. Would you? Valera stepped closer to him. Your human military is very good at keeping secrets. Very good at making people forget. She saw something flicker in his eyes. Fear? Recognition? She couldn't tell. How did you find me? He asked. I never stopped looking, Valera said. I searched every human military record I could find. I bribed officials. I hired spies. For 5 years, I found nothing. Your government hid you well. But then, 3 months ago, one of my agents found a genetic trace. A sample of blood left behind at the palace. I matched it to immigration records from the Outer Rim. And here you are. Do-hyun was silent for a long moment. His engineer Jisoo looked at him with worry in her eyes. Do-hyun, she said softly. The mission. The one you can't remember. Could this be? I don't know. His voice was rough. I don't remember anything. Valera reached into her coat and pulled out a small object. It was a medal, made of metal, with Korean writing on it. It was burned and damaged, but still readable. I found this in the ashes after you left, she said. It fell from your uniform. I've kept it with me ever since. She held it out to Do-hyun. His hand was shaking as he took it. This is mine, he whispered. This is my service medal. I thought I lost it. You did, Valera said. You lost it saving my life. For a moment, nobody spoke. The ship was silent, except for the hum of the engines. Do-hyun stared at the medal in his hand like it was a ghost. Why? He finally asked. Why did you search for me for so long? Valera smiled sadly. Because no one ever came for me before. My whole life, I was protected by guards and servants because it was their duty, because they were paid, because they were ordered. But you were different. You came through fire for me when you didn't have to. You risked your life for a stranger from another species. I wanted to know, what kind of person does that? She paused, and her golden eyes met his. I wanted to say thank you, she said. And I wanted to understand why a human would care about an alien girl he had never met. Do-hyun looked at her for a long time. She could see the war happening behind his eyes. Part of him wanted to believe her. Part of him was afraid. I have nightmares, he said quietly. Every night for 5 years. Fire. Smoke. Carrying someone through flames. But I never see a face. I never remember what happened. Your memories were taken from you, Valera said. I believe your military did something to make you forget. But maybe they didn't destroy the memories completely. Maybe they're still there. Thanks for watching. Locked away. And you want to unlock them? I want to help you remember who you are. Valera reached out and took his hand. Her skin was cool against his. You saved my life, Kang Do-hyun. Let me help you get yours back. Jisoo stepped forward. Your Highness, this is a lot to take in. Do-hyun needs time to think. We can't just fly off to your empire because of a medal and a story. I understand, Valera said. She let go of Do-hyun's hand. But I'm asking you to come with me anyway. Not as prisoners. As guests. I have doctors on my homeworld who might be able to help restore his memories. I have records and evidence that might explain what really happened that night. Don't you want to know the truth? Do-hyun looked at the medal in his hand. Then he looked at Jisoo. She's right, he said. I've been running from this for 5 years. Maybe it's time to stop running. Do-hyun, think about this, Jisoo said. If the military really did erase your memories, there's a reason. What if the truth is dangerous? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. One. One. Then at least I'll know. He put the medal in his pocket. I'm tired of not knowing, Jisoo. I'm tired of waking up every night screaming about a fire I can't remember. If this princess can give me answers, I want to hear them. Valera felt hope rising in her chest. After all these years, she had found him, and he was willing to listen. Thank you, she said. I hope not. Do-hyun's voice was hard, but not unkind. But I want you to understand something, princess. I don't remember saving you. Right now, you're a stranger to me. I'm coming with you because I want answers, not because I feel any connection to you. The words hurt, but Valera nodded. I understand. I'll earn your trust, just as you earned mine 5 years ago. She turned to walk back to the airlock, gesturing for her guards to follow. But before she left, she looked back one more time. The man who saved me was the bravest person I ever met, she said. I don't think memories can change who someone really is. I think you're still that man, Kang Do-hyun, even if you don't remember. Then she was gone, walking back to her silver ship. Do-hyun stood in the airlock for a long time after she left. Jisoo came to stand beside him. This is either the beginning of something amazing, she said, or we're walking into a trap. Probably both, Do-hyun replied. But even as he said it, he felt something strange in his chest. A warmth he hadn't felt in years. And deep in the back of his mind, in the place where his memories should have been, something was beginning to wake up. The Wanderer followed the silver ship into the darkness of space, heading toward the Etherian Empire. And Kang Do-hyun took one step closer to remembering who he really was. The journey to the Etherian Empire would take 12 days. During that time, 14.5 DZ, the Wanderer flew alongside Valera's royal ship, the Starfall. Every day, the princess came to visit Do-hyun and tell him more about the night he saved her. Do-hyun listened to everything. He wanted to remember. He needed to remember. But the memories stayed locked away, hidden somewhere deep in his mind. You were wearing black armor, Valera said one evening. They were sitting in the small kitchen of the Wanderer, drinking tea. Her guards waited outside, but she had insisted on being alone with him. It was different from anything I had seen before. Human military design. You had a mask covering your face, but it broke during the fighting. That's when I first saw your eyes. What did I say to you? Do-hyun asked. You said, stay behind me in my language. Your accent was terrible. She smiled at the memory. Then, you said something in Korean. I didn't understand it then, but I learned later what it meant. What was it? You said it's going to be okay. You said it over and over while you carried me through the fire, like you were trying to make me believe it, like you believed it yourself. Do-hyun closed his eyes. He could almost see it, almost feel it. The weight of someone small in his arms, the heat of flames all around. But the image kept slipping away like water through his fingers. I'm sorry, he said. I know. Valera reached across the table and touched his hand. Be patient. The memories are there. We just need to find them. Memories. That night, Do-hyun had the nightmare again. But this time, it was different. This time, he saw something new. Purple skin, golden eyes, a young girl looking up at him with fear and hope. He woke up gasping, his heart pounding. The image was already fading, but he held on to it with everything he had. Purple skin, golden eyes. It was her. It was Valera. He got out of bed and walked to the cockpit. Jisoo was there, working on her computer. Couldn't sleep? She asked without looking up. I saw her, Do-hyun said. In the nightmare. Jisoo stopped typing and turned to look at him. That's new. It means she's telling the truth. I was there. I did save her. I just can't remember why. Jisoo was quiet for a moment. Then she turned her computer screen toward him. I've been doing some research, she said. Looking into your old unit. The mission files are classified, but I found some things that don't make sense. Like what? Like the fact that your entire team was disbanded right after that mission. Every soldier was sent to different parts of the galaxy. Most of them had their records sealed. And you weren't the only one who lost memories. I found medical reports. At least 6 soldiers from your unit had memory adjustment therapy. That's military code for memory erasure. Do-hyun felt cold. They erased everyone's memories? Looks like it. Whatever happened on that mission, someone wanted it buried. And they were willing to go very far to make that happen. Do-hyun sat down heavily. His mind was racing. If the military erased his memories, they must have had a reason. What had he done? What had he seen? There's more, Jisoo said. I found a name. Commander Taeho. He was in charge of your unit. He signed off on all the memory erasure orders. And he's still active in the military. Very high up now. Very powerful. Taeho. Do-hyun repeated the name. It felt familiar. Like a word he knew but had forgotten. I think he knows what happened that night, Jisoo said. And I think he's been hiding it for 5 years. Before Do-hyun could respond, an alarm went off. Red lights flashed. The ship shook hard. What's happening? Do-hyun ran to the controls. Something hit us. Jisoo's fingers flew across the keyboard. There's a ship. It came out of nowhere. It's attacking. Do-hyun looked at the screen. A small black ship was firing at the Wanderer. It was fast and deadly. And it wasn't stopping. That's not a pirate ship, Jisoo said. That's military. The Starfall was moving to intercept, but the black ship was too fast. It dodged the Etherian weapons and kept firing at the Wanderer. They're trying to kill us, Do-hyun said. Specifically, they're trying to kill you. Jisoo pointed at the damage reports. They're targeting the cockpit. They want you dead. Another hit shook the ship. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Smoke filled the air. Do-hyun's mind went calm and cold. The same feeling he remembered from his training, from his time as a soldier. He knew what to do. Take the controls, he told Jisoo. Keep us flying. Where are you going? To stop them. He ran through the ship to the airlock. His hands found an old rifle stored in a locker. He checked the ammunition. He made sure the weapon was ready. The black ship was coming alongside the Wanderer, preparing to board. Do-hyun could see figures inside, wearing black armor. Human armor. The airlock opened. 4 soldiers came through, weapons raised. Do-hyun moved. Later, Jisoo would say it was like watching water flow. He didn't seem to think about what he was doing. He just moved. And everywhere he moved, enemies fell. The first soldier went down with a broken arm before he could fire. The second took a kick to the chest that sent him flying into the wall. The third managed to shoot, but Do-hyun was already somewhere else, his rifle slamming into the soldier's helmet. The fourth soldier hesitated. That was his mistake. Do-hyun grabbed him, twisted his weapon away, and held him against the wall. Who sent you? Do-hyun demanded. Oh, the soldier laughed. You don't remember, do you? You don't remember what you did, what you saw. Commander Taeho sends his regards. He says, it's time to clean up loose ends. Taeho? Do-hyun's grip tightened. What does he want? He wants you dead. You and everyone who knows about that night. The soldier triggered something on his armor. Do-hyun threw him away, just as a small explosion went off. When the smoke cleared, the soldier was dead. Jisoo came running. Do-hyun, are you okay? Do-hyun, are you okay? He was standing in the middle of 4 fallen enemies, his breathing steady, his hands not even shaking. The rifle in his grip felt natural. Familiar. Like an extension of his body. I'm fine, he said. But inside, he was not fine. He was remembering things. Flashes of training. Flashes of fighting. He remembered being good at this. Being very, very good at killing. The Starfall had destroyed the black ship. Valera came aboard the Wanderer moments later, her guards behind her. She stopped when she saw the bodies on the floor. She looked at Do-hyun with wide eyes. "You did this?" she asked. "Yes." "Alone?" "Yes." She stared at him for a long moment. Then she said something he didn't expect. "This is what I remember," she whispered. "This is the man who saved me. The one who moved like death itself and still carried me gently through the fire." Do-hyun looked down at his hands. They were shaking now. Not from fear, but from something else. From remembering. "Someone wants me dead," he said. "Someone named Taeho. He's connected to that night. He's been hiding something for 5 years. Then we'll find him," Valera said. Her voice was hard as steel. "We'll find him, and we'll make him tell us the truth. No one will hurt you again. Kang Do-hyun. I won't allow it." Kram. She reached out and took his hand. Her skin was cool and soft against his bloodied fingers. "I protected you once," he said quietly. "Now it's my turn to protect you," she replied. And for the first time in 5 years, Do-hyun felt like he wasn't alone. The fleet stopped at a space station on the border between human and Etherian territory. Valera wanted to gather more information before continuing to her homeworld. She needed to know who was trying to kill Do-hyun and why. The station was called Horizon Point. It was a neutral place where humans and aliens could meet and trade. Do-hyun had been here once before, years ago, but he didn't remember much about it. The attack on the Wanderer had changed things. Valera's guards now looked at Do-hyun differently. Before, they had seen him as a curiosity, a human their princess was obsessed with. Now they looked at him with something like respect and something like fear. "4 soldiers," one of the guards said to another while they walked through the station. "He killed 4 trained soldiers by himself. In less than 30 seconds. I saw the bodies," the other guard replied. "I've never seen anything like it. Humans are supposed to be weak. Their bodies break easily. Their bodies, maybe, but not their spirits." Do-hyun heard them talking. He said nothing. Valera took him to a private room in the station where she could treat his wounds. The fight had left him with cuts and bruises. Nothing serious. But she insisted on caring for him herself. "You don't have to do this," Do-hyun said as she cleaned a cut on his arm. "You have servants for this. I want to do it." Her golden eyes focused on her work. "When I was 16, lying in a hospital bed after the fire, no one cared for me like this. My father was busy dealing with the political situation. My guard stood outside my door, but no one sat with me. No one held my hand. That sounds lonely." It was. She finished cleaning the wound and began to bandage it. "That's why I remember you so clearly. You were the first person who made me feel like I mattered. Not as a princess, just as a person." Do-hyun watched her work. Her hands were gentle and careful. He found himself wondering what it had been like for her, growing up as royalty in an alien empire. It didn't sound as wonderful as stories made it seem. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Anything. Why did you keep searching? For 5 years. Most people would have given up." Valera finished the bandage and sat back. She looked at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "Because you changed something in me," she said. "Before that night, I believed that everyone served the royal family because they had to, because of duty and obligation and fear. But you were different. You were a human soldier with no connection to me, no reason to care, and you risked your life for me anyway." She paused, searching for the right words. "I spent years trying to understand why. I read about humans. I studied your history. I learned that humans have this strange quality. You care about things that don't benefit you. You fight for people you've never met. You sacrifice yourselves for ideas and beliefs. That's not just humans," Do-hyun said. "Anyone can be brave." "No." Valera shook her head. "It's different with your species. Etherians are logical. We calculate risks and benefits. We protect our families because they share our blood. But humans will run into a burning building for a stranger. Humans will stand in front of a weapon to protect someone they just met. It's not logical. It's not smart. But it's beautiful. She reached out and touched the scar on his cheek. You are beautiful, she said softly. Not because of how you look, but because of what you are. What your whole species is. I've been trying to understand it for 5 years, and I still don't fully understand. But I admire it more than I can say. Do-hyun didn't know how to respond. No one had ever talked to him like this before. There was a knock at the door. Jisoo entered, her face serious. We have a problem, she said. I've been asking around the station. The attack on us wasn't random. Someone paid a lot of money to find us. And they're not done. For entombment. And for mining. And they're not done. We are mining. We're not done. Commander Taeho? Do-hyun asked. Has to be. But there's more. Jisoo handed him a data pad. I found a message in the attackers' ship computers. They had orders to kill you before you reached Etherian space. Before you could remember what happened that night. They're afraid of him remembering, Valera said. Whatever Do-hyun knows, it's dangerous enough to kill for. There's something else. Jisoo's voice was hesitant. The message mentioned other targets. Other soldiers from Do-hyun's old unit. Some of them have been killed over the past few years. Made to look like accidents or suicides. You're not the first one they've gone after. Do-hyun felt sick. His fellow soldiers, the men and women he had served with, were being murdered. And he couldn't even remember their names. We need to get to Etheria, Valera said. My father can protect him there. We have doctors who might be able to unlock his memories. Once he remembers everything, we'll have evidence against whoever is doing this. And if the memories don't come back, Jisoo asked, then we find another way. But I'm not giving up. They left the room and headed back toward the docking area. The station was crowded, full of humans and aliens going about their business. Do-hyun kept his head down and tried not to draw attention, but he noticed something. A man watching them from across the hall. Human. Military posture. Eyes that didn't blink. We're being followed, Do-hyun said quietly. Before anyone could respond, the lights went out. The station plunged into darkness. Screaming, gunfire, flashes of light in the black. Do-hyun moved on instinct. He grabbed Valera and pulled her behind him. Jisoo was at his side, her weapon in her hand. The Etherian guards formed a circle around them. More gunfire. One of the guards fell. Then another. Do-hyun could see shapes moving in the darkness. Black armor, professional killers. They were everywhere. Stay close, he told Valera. I can fight, she said. I know. But let me go first. He stepped out of the circle and into the darkness. The shapes came at him. He met them with his fists. His feet. His body. The Etherian guards watched in shock. They had been trained from birth to fight. They had advanced weapons and armor. But they had never seen anything like this human. Do-hyun didn't use fancy techniques. He didn't pause or hesitate. He moved through the enemy like a storm through trees. Where he passed, bodies fell. Some unconscious. Some dead. One of the attackers got close to Valera. Do-hyun crossed the distance in a heartbeat and broke the man's arm with a single movement. The attacker screamed and dropped. The lights came back on. The remaining attackers ran. Do-hyun let them go. He was breathing hard, his clothes torn, blood on his hands. But none of it was his. Valera was staring at him. All the Etherian guards were staring at him. How? One of them whispered. How can one human be so deadly? Do-hyun wiped his hands on his shirt. He didn't have an answer. He didn't know why he could do these things. The skills were just there, buried in his body, even when his mind forgot. Valera walked up to him. Her golden eyes were wet. Thank you, she said, again. I'm not sure why I'm like this, Do-hyun admitted. I don't know what they made me into. Maybe. I was always a weapon. Valera shook her head. A weapon doesn't choose who to protect. A weapon doesn't care about strangers. You're not a weapon, Kang Do-hyun. You're a guardian. You just don't know it yet. She took his bloody hand in hers. Come on, she said. Let's get you home. And together, they walked back to the ships, leaving the chaos behind them. The guards followed, no longer treating Do-hyun as a curiosity. Now they looked at him as an equal, perhaps even as something more. A human who fought like a demon but protected like an angel. They had never seen anything like it. They hoped they would never have to fight against it. The Etherian homeworld was called Verath. Do-hyun had never imagined anything like it. The planet glowed with soft purple light as they approached. Great crystal cities rose from the surface, shining like jewels under 3 distant suns. Rivers of light flowed between towers that reached toward the sky. Everything was beautiful and ancient and utterly alien. Welcome to my home, Valera said, standing beside him at the window. What do you think? I think I don't belong here, Do-hyun replied honestly. You belong wherever I say you belong. Her voice was gentle but firm. You are my guest. No one will harm you here. Do-hyun wasn't so sure. He had seen how the Etherian guards looked at the planet, how their postures straightened and their expressions became more serious. This was the heart of their empire, a place of power and tradition and politics. A human had no place here. The ship landed in a palace that made everything Do-hyun had ever seen look small and simple. The floors were made of something that looked like frozen light. The walls were covered in patterns that moved and changed. Servants in silver robes bowed as Valera passed, and everyone stared at Do-hyun. He could feel their eyes on him. Curious, hostile, confused. What was a human doing in the royal palace? Why was the princess walking so close to him? Why did she look at him like he was the most important person in the room? Valera, a deep voice echoed through the hall. A tall figure approached, wearing robes of gold and purple. He was older, with white hair and stern golden eyes. The Emperor of the Etherian Empire, Valera's father. Valera bowed her head slightly. Father. The Emperor looked at Do-hyun. His expression was impossible to read. So this is the human, he said. The one you have been searching for all these years. This is Kang Do-hyun, Valera said. The man who saved my life. So you claim. The Emperor walked around Do-hyun in a slow circle, studying him. He looks ordinary, small, fragile. Are you certain this is the warrior from your memories? I am certain. He defeated 8 attackers on the space station, one of the guards said. By himself. I witnessed it. The Emperor's eyebrows rose slightly. He looked at Do-hyun with new interest. Perhaps there is more to you than appearance suggests, he said. Very well. You may stay in the palace as my daughter's guest. But understand this, human, you are a stranger in my empire. If you cause any problems, I will send you back to your own kind in pieces. I understand, Do-hyun said. The Emperor nodded and walked away. Valera let out a breath she had been holding. That went better than I expected, she said. He threatened to cut me into pieces. Yes, but he didn't do it immediately. For my father, that's practically a warm welcome. The next few days were strange and uncomfortable for Do-hyun. He was given a beautiful room in the palace, with a bed softer than anything he had ever slept on, and windows that looked out over the crystal city. Servants brought him food and clothes. Everything was provided for him, but he was also watched. Everywhere he went, eyes followed him. Some were curious, like children seeing a strange animal. Some were hostile, like nobles who saw him as an insult to their traditions. And some were calculating, like politicians who saw him as a piece in a game they were playing. Jisoo stayed with him, which helped. She complained about the food and made fun of the fancy clothes and kept him grounded when everything else felt like a dream. You have to admit, she said one evening, This is better than salvaging dead ships. I'm not sure about that, Do-hyun replied. At least dead ships don't stare at me like I'm something they scraped off their shoe. A knock came at his door. A human woman entered, wearing simple clothes and carrying a data pad. She was about 30 years old, with kind eyes and a careful expression. Hello, she said. I'm Baek Sujin. I'm a human diplomat stationed here on Verath. I heard about your situation, and I thought I might be able to help. Help? How? Do-hyun asked. Sujin sat down across from him. Help you understand this place. Help you survive. You've made a lot of enemies very quickly. Mr. Kang, there are noble houses that see your presence here as an insult. They're already plotting ways to get rid of you. I didn't ask to be here. I know, but you're here now, and you need to be careful. Sujin leaned forward. The princess cares about you. That's obvious to everyone. In Etherian culture, that gives you power. But power makes people jealous. And jealous people do dangerous things. Do-hyun thought about this. What do you suggest? Apsir, keep your head down. Be polite. Don't give anyone a reason to move against you. And most importantly, she paused. Remember who your real enemies are. The nobles here might not like you, but they're not the ones who tried to kill you. That threat is still out there. And it's human. That night, Valera came to see him. She was wearing simpler clothes than usual, without the formal robes of royalty. She looked young and tired and worried. The noble houses are demanding that my father send you away, she said. They say your presence is an insult to our traditions. Then send me away, Do-hyun said. No. Her voice was sharp. I didn't search for 5 years to give up now. You're here because I want you here, and I won't let anyone take you away. Belira. Do-jun hesitated. He wasn't good with words. Why are you doing all this? You're a princess. You could have anything you want. Anyone you want. Why me? Valera looked at him for a long moment. Then she walked to the window and stared out at the crystal city. When I was 16, she said softly, I learned that being a princess means nothing. Power means nothing. Wealth means nothing. When the palace was burning around me, none of it could save me. I was going to die alone, surrounded by beautiful things that couldn't help me. She turned to look at him. Then you came. A stranger from another world. You had nothing. No power. No wealth. Just your own 2 hands. And you carried me through the fire like I was the most precious thing in the universe. She walked toward him, slowly. I have spent my whole life being treated like a symbol. A princess. A political piece. But in your arms, for those few minutes, I was just a person. A person worth saving. Do you understand what that meant to me? Do-hyun didn't answer. He couldn't. Valera stopped in front of him. She reached up and touched his face. I'm not doing this because I owe you, she said. I'm doing this because you showed me what really matters. And I want to be near that. Near you. Even if you never remember me. Even if you never feel for me what I feel for you. She took her hand away and stepped back. Tomorrow, my doctors will try to unlock your memories, she said. Whatever we find, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You never will be again. She left. Do-hyun stood by the window for a long time, looking at the alien stars, thinking about fire and memory and a princess who had searched for him for 5 years. And somewhere in his mind, something stirred. Something that had been sleeping for a very long time. Tomorrow, he would remember. He could feel it. He just hoped he was ready for what he would find. The room was white and quiet. Do-hyun lay on a soft table, while Etherian doctors moved around him, attaching small devices to his head and arms. Valera stood nearby, watching with worried eyes. The process may be uncomfortable, the lead doctor said. The memories were buried deeply. Pulling them out will not be gentle. I understand, Do-hyun said. Do it. The doctor pressed a button. Light filled Do-hyun's vision. And then, like a dam breaking, the memories came flooding back. He was 24 years old again, standing in a briefing room with his team. Commander Taeho was at the front, pointing at a screen showing the Etherian homeworld. The mission is simple, Taeho said. We wait. We watch. We do nothing. Sir? One of the soldiers looked confused. What are we waiting for? There's going to be a coup tonight, Taeho explained. A faction within the Etherian government is going to try to overthrow the Emperor. When they do, we stay out of it. No interference. No involvement. Those are our orders from High Command. Do-hyun remembered frowning. Why are we here then? To observe, to gather intelligence, and to make sure no human gets involved. Taeho's eyes were cold. A new government on Etheria would be good for Earth, more cooperative, more willing to trade on our terms, so we let it happen. Understood? The team nodded. Do-hyun nodded too. But something felt wrong. That night, they watched from a hidden position as the coup began. Explosions lit up the sky. The royal palace burned. Etherian soldiers fought in the streets, and then Do-hyun saw her. A young girl running from the burning palace, chased by soldiers with weapons raised. She fell. She screamed. No one came to help her. That's the princess, one of his teammates said. She's going to die. We? Shaking. Good. Another replied. Orders are. Orders. Do-hyun watched the girl struggle to her feet, watched her try to run on an injured leg, watched the soldiers getting closer, and something broke inside him. I'm going, he said. Do-hyun, no. Taeho grabbed his arm. If you interfere, you'll start an incident. You'll be court-martialed. You'll be killed. Do-hyun looked at his commander. She's a child, he said. She's going to die. She's an alien. She's not your problem. Do-hyun pulled his arm free. He ran. He ran into the fire and the chaos and the death. He fought through enemies he wasn't supposed to fight. He carried a princess he wasn't supposed to save. And when it was over, when she was safe in the hands of loyal guards, he disappeared into the smoke. His team was waiting for him. Their faces were pale with fear. What did you do? Taeho demanded. Do you have any idea what you've done? I saved her life. You've ruined everything. Taeho was shaking with anger. The coup failed because of you. The loyalist forces rallied when they saw the princess was alive. The new government was supposed to take over. We had deals, agreements, billions of credits worth of trade contracts. And you destroyed it all. Do-hyun stood his ground. I couldn't watch her die. You should have. Taeho's voice was cold as ice. You should have let her burn. And now, you're going to pay for it. They took him back to Earth. They put him in a room with doctors and machines. And they took his memories away. When they have memories, they took him back to Earth. Forget everything, Taeho said, standing over him as the drugs flowed into his veins. Forget the mission. Forget the princess. Forget who you are. You were never there. It never happened. The memory ended. Do-hyun opened his eyes in the white room on Etheria, tears streaming down his face. I remember, he whispered. I remember everything. Valera was at his side instantly. What did you see? Do-hyun told her everything. The conspiracy, the coup, Taeho's orders to let her die. The reason his memories were erased. When he finished, Valera's face was pale with shock. They wanted me dead, she said. Your own government wanted me dead for profit, not the government. Some people within it, Taeho, and whoever he was working with. Do-hyun sat up, his head pounding. I disobeyed orders to save you. That's why they erased my memories. That's why they've been trying to kill me. I'm the evidence that their plan failed. Jisoo came running into the room. Her face was urgent. We have a problem, she said. A ship just entered Aetherian space. It's human, military, and it's demanding that Do-hyun be handed over for arrest. Who's commanding it? Do-hyun asked, though he already knew. Commander Taeho. He's accusing you of war crimes. He says you murdered Aetherian civilians during the coup and that you need to face justice. Valera's golden eyes blazed with fury. That's a lie. He's the criminal, not Do-hyun. He doesn't know we have Do-hyun's memories back, Jisoo said. He thinks he can still bury this. If he kills Do-hyun or takes him back to Earth, no one will ever know the truth. Do-hyun stood up. His legs were shaky, his mind was reeling. But he felt clearer than he had in 5 years. He finally knew who he was, what he had done, why he had done it. I'm not running, he said. I'm not hiding. It's time to end this. End quote. What are you going to do? Valera asked. Tell the truth. Everything. To your father. To your court. To everyone. He looked at her with determination burning in his eyes. They buried me for 5 years because of what I know. Now I'm going to dig myself out. Valera stared at him for a long moment. Then she smiled, and it was the fiercest smile Do-hyun had ever seen. My father will want to hear this, she said. And when he does, Commander Taeho will learn what happens when you threaten something the Aetherian Empire cares about. She took Do-hyun's hand and squeezed it. Come on, she said. Let's go face your demons together. They walked out of the white room and into the hallway of the palace. Ahead of them lay the throne room, the emperor, and the truth that had been hidden for 5 years. Behind them, a human ship waited with a man who wanted Do-hyun dead, but Do-hyun wasn't afraid anymore. He had been afraid of the darkness in his mind, the missing pieces of himself. Now he had those pieces back. Now he knew who he was. He was the man who had run into fire for a stranger. He was the man who had disobeyed orders because it was right. He was the man who had lost everything because he refused to let a child die, and he was not going to let anyone take that away from him again. The throne room of the Aetherian Empire was the largest room Do-hyun had ever seen. Crystal pillars rose toward a ceiling so high it disappeared into shadow. Thousands of Aetherians stood in rows, nobles and officials and servants, all watching as Do-hyun walked toward the throne. The emperor sat above them all, his golden eyes cold and calculating. Beside him stood Commander Taeho, wearing his military uniform, his face full of confidence. Your Majesty, Taeho said, his voice echoing through the hall. I demand that this human be surrendered to my custody. He is a war criminal. He murdered Aetherian citizens during the coup 5 years ago. I have evidence. I have witnesses. 1. You have lies, Valera said, stepping forward. I was there that night, Commander. I know exactly what happened. With respect, Princess, you were a frightened child. Your memories are not reliable. Then perhaps you will find these memories more convincing. Valera gestured, and a holographic image appeared in the air above the throne room. It showed everything Do-hyun remembered. The briefing room, Taeho's orders. The crowd watched in shocked silence. The emperor's eyes grew wider and wider. What is this? He demanded. The truth, Do-hyun said, stepping forward. 5 years ago, Commander Taeho and others within the human military made a deal with the people who tried to kill you. They wanted the coup to succeed. They wanted your daughter to die, because a new government would have been easier to control, easier to profit from. He pointed at Taeho. I disobeyed his orders. I saved the princess. And for that, they erased my memories and tried to kill me. They've been killing everyone who knows the truth. I'm just the last one left. Taeho's confident expression cracked. This is lies. Fabrication. The human's memories are damaged. You can't trust anything he shows you. The memories were extracted by Etherian doctors, Valera said. They are genuine, and they match everything I remember from that night. The Emperor stood. His presence filled the room like a wave of cold air. Commander Tejo, he said, his voice quiet and deadly. You conspired to murder my daughter. You conspired to overthrow my empire. And you come to my throne room and demand justice? Tejo's face went pale. Your Majesty, I can explain. Guards, take him. Etherian guards moved forward. Tejo tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. They grabbed him and forced him to his knees. This isn't over, Tejo snarled, looking at Do-hyun. You think you've won? There are others. Others who wanted this. They'll come for you. They'll never stop. No, let them come. Do-hyun said, calmly. I'm not hiding anymore. The guards dragged Tejo away. The throne room was silent for a long moment. Then, the Emperor turned to look at Do-hyun. Human, he said. You disobeyed your own commander. You defied your own government. You destroyed trade deals worth billions, all to save one alien girl you had never met. Do-hyun met his eyes without flinching. Yes. Why? Do-hyun thought about the question. He thought about the fire and the fear and the young girl crying in the smoke. He thought about all the logical reasons not to help. And he thought about why none of those reasons had mattered. Because she needed help, he said simply. And I could give it. The Emperor stared at him for a long time. Then, slowly, he began to smile. I have lived for many years, he said. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have known warriors and kings and heroes. But I have never understood humans. Your species is weak. Your bodies break easily. Your lives are short. And yet you do things that no other species would ever do. He descended from his throne and walked toward Do-hyun. You ran into fire for a stranger, the Emperor continued. You gave up everything for a child who was not your own. You defied orders, defied logic, defied your own survival instinct. Because someone needed help. 1. He stopped in front of Do-hyun and looked down at him. That is terrifying, he said. And it is beautiful. I understand now why my daughter searched for you. Why she could not let you go. He turned to address the crowd. This human saved my daughter's life. He sacrificed everything to protect her. In Etherian tradition, such a debt can never fully be repaid, but it can be honored. He looked at Valera. You wish to honor him. I see it in your eyes. What would you have me do? Valera stepped forward. Her voice was clear and strong. I wish to name him Caliph, she said. One who stands beside. A gasp went through the crowd. Do-hyun didn't understand the word, but from the reaction, he knew it was important. That title is traditionally reserved for royal consorts, the Emperor said. I know. You would bind yourself to a human? To a man from another species? Another world? I would bind myself to him. Valera's voice did not waver. If he will have me. All eyes turned to Do-hyun. He felt the weight of 1,000 stares, the pressure of a decision that would change everything. He thought about his life on the Wanderer, the loneliness, the nightmares, the empty years of not knowing who he was. He thought about Valera, the girl he had saved, the woman who had searched for him, the princess who had stood beside him against enemies and emperors alike. I'm just a salvager, he said. I have nothing to offer you. No wealth, no power, no empire. Valera smiled. You have yourself. That's more than enough. Do-hyun looked at her golden eyes. He remembered the fire. He remembered carrying her through the smoke. He remembered the feeling that had driven him to disobey orders and throw away his life. I'll stay, he said. Valera's smile grew brighter than any star. The Emperor raised his hand. Then, let it be known throughout the empire. Kang Do-hyun is named Caliph of the royal house. He stands beside my daughter as her chosen, and any who threaten him threaten Etheria itself. The crowd bowed. Every noble, every official, every servant. They bowed to the human who had run into fire for a stranger. Later that night, Do-hyun and Valera stood on a balcony overlooking the Crystal City. The three suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. It was the most beautiful thing Do-hyun had ever seen. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. "I'm still just a human. I don't know how to be royalty. I don't know your traditions. Or your politics. You'll learn," Valera said. "What if I make mistakes? Then we'll fix them together." She moved closer to him, her hand finding his. "I spent 5 years searching for you, Kang Do-hyun. I'm not going to let you go now." Do-hyun looked at her. The girl he had saved, the woman he was beginning to love. "I remember something now," he said. "Something I didn't remember before." "What?" "When I was carrying you through the fire, you looked up at me. You were crying. And you asked me why. I was helping you." Valera's eyes widened. "What did you say?" Do-hyun smiled. It was the first real smile he had allowed himself in 5 years. "I said that's what humans do. We help people, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it costs us everything. Because that's who we are." Valera reached up and touched his face. There were tears in her golden eyes. "Stay, human," she whispered. "Stay with me." Do-hyun pulled her close and held her against his chest. The Crystal City sparkled below them. The stars were coming out above, and somewhere in the darkness of space, humanity continued to do what it had always done: run into fire for strangers, stand against impossible odds, love without limits. That was what humans were capable of, and Kang Do-hyun was finally proud to be one.